for having me. I'm Oliver Verneyer. I'm the CEO of IMburse, a startup that originated as a pivot from a previous company. IMburse is an advanced payment marketplace. So what is it that we want to deliver? Across 3 products that we have, we want to enable our customers to be able to collect and pay out any amount of money in any market, in any currency, in any technology. All of this via a single integration point, so you can manage it effectively, as well as deploy automation. That's a lot, but let me tell you first about us. We're a team of 4 co-founders. We have backgrounds in startups as well as corporate. I have a long history in insurance. Our CFO has a long history in finance, and our CTO and our head developer are both part of have startup experience and are leading the development in the space, and they're really driving the capabilities of this company. Really great guys. So what's the market problem? It's an expensive market problem. The problem arises in that the IT costs and the management costs of payments is incredibly high. It is estimated at about 2% of gross written premium for insurance alone. Now, what causes this? There's such a massive supply in payment types. Everything from e-wallets, alternative payment method, card, bank, everything. And all the integration costs associated with that. Companies do not even fully participate in this market, because imagine having to integrate 5, never mind 10 or 20 payment systems, which leads to the other problem is that it changes all the time. That means you have to update this all the time. And anybody who knows large corporate knows that is slow and costs a lot of money. Another big problem is the barrier between payment types. We all know how difficult it can be to move money between a bank account and even a registered platform like PayPal, Stripe, or Twint. It is not as easy as it should be. Never mind trying to pay your insurance or your bank stuff via alternative payment methods. There's still quite a de-link between the automation and business IP to payments. It's all via some other system who tries to create some product benefit, but not linked directly to the payments piece itself. And nearly all the vendors out there focus on collecting money. There are so many providers that e-commerce platforms can use to get money from you. But how many, hardly any, are geared to pay out in a very easy and efficient way? And the high costs associated just with corporate IT and the timelines is a big block to extracting the value from any payments-related benefits. That means there's a massive opportunity cost to the market. You're missing out on launching certain products because you can't do it from a payments perspective. Side note, that's how this company was created. We wanted to launch a flight delay insurance product, and all the traditional travel insurance companies couldn't help us because they could give us the product, but not real-time payments. So what is it that we do? So we really focus on providing a solution that significantly reduces the costs, as well as increases opportunity for new revenue. By doing what? We give a central point to integrate with. We're telling companies, here is IMburse, you integrate with IMburse. And then you will be able to collect or pay out money in any market, in any currency, in any technology. Basically removing the mandate of worrying about the end technology and having a payer and payee technology be the same. But also because you can leverage automation, we can allow you to launch new business models. Think about motor telematics. If somebody drives well, how do you want to reward them with that driving well if your premium is 100 euros a month? And I'll show you this with examples of how that works. So what is it that we actually do on a day-to-day business? Execution-wise, we only do 2 things. We get told to collect money for a specific amount from a specific person, or we get told to pay out money for a specific amount to a specific person. That is the actions that we do. And we do that through what we call our hands, ImPay. This executes the payment. This is the way we build platform partners. But the point is that we do this via a single integration point so that we can do that in any market, in any currency, and any technology. It should be so easy that a company no longer has to worry how a person pays, just that they get the money. And a person no longer has to worry about what options they have to pay, just that they have to pay the money or receive the money. So what does this look like in a practical example? Let's take a boring example of collecting premiums. Insurers do this now already via Lastschriftverfahren or direct debits. So what's the normal process? The own billing system goes and tries and collects the 100 euros. Imagine they have to pay a 100 euro premium. Customer has the choice of 2 or 3 options. And then if the money is there, the payment is collected. Great. Everything very straightforward. What if there's no money in the account? Generally, you incur about a €2 cost for not being able to collect. Then you have to notify the customer. In the P&C side, that means in 10 days, you notify them that they will try and collect again. So you have to create communication and then try and collect the money. And then on life and health, you often have to do that in the next month when you collect the premium, and you have to collect 2. What do we offer? We say, you know what, your billing system, you don't even have to get rid of it. Just tell it to ask IMburse to collect that money. We basically go to the customer and say, you owe €100. How do you want to pay? We really don't care. You pay the €100 and we pass it on to the billing system. Everything straightforward like the first one. The point is just on the second one, if there's no money can be collected, we ask you immediately, hey, that didn't work. Give us an alternative, and we collect the money immediately. You don't have to do more communication with the customer. You can save a lot of those costs. Now, what we have seen with basically the POCs we're working with customers, that across 100,000 customers, we can save about 0.6% of gross written premium. That means of all the premium you collect, generally 2% is allocated to around payment-oriented costs, and we can bring that down by 0.6%, which is quite a lot of money. Now, in the more exotic example is of money payout. So how do existing companies do that? Well, they don't really. Well, not really the way we want it to. So generally they pay out in some kind of voucher system, or they roll it forward. Because imagine having to pay out €10. If a company has to pay you out €10 now, an insurance company, yeah, they can pay it out to you in PayPal. But that means some person has to go and create a PayPal account and ask you for your PayPal information and make that payment. It's going to cost you more than €10 to make that payment. So we don't do it. Now, that is unfortunate because there's such a great product experience you can create with that. And what we're offering is to say, hey, remember, you only have to tell us how much we have to pay out. We will take the €10 from the insurer, then ask the customer, hey, you got €10, what do you want to do with it? Do you want it into your bank account? Do you want it into your PayPal or Stripe or Twint account? Or do you want Amazon vouchers? Or do you want to put the premium aside for the next premium? It opens so many opportunities. And these are just 2 cases which are relatively boring, but even there we can save a lot of money. And as you can see here, we can reduce the costs massively around loyalty based costs that people have. So who are we as a company? We are very Europe and UK focused at the moment. This is where most of our deals are. Our main focus in the beginning is insurance, loyalty and e-commerce, but anybody who moves money. The next step will be to go to the US, Canada and China. We already have interest from China, massive market. And eventually the point is to be a globally scalable company. We can deploy this capability in our software on any server in any country to be meeting all regulatory requirements, but roll out very quickly. We are not the only people in payments. We're not delusional about that. So we had a quick look at who's out there and realized, well, there's people who do stuff, but not all the stuff we want to be doing in one go. And there are also people doing good stuff. So we are now offering everything, but here's the kicker. We have great partners. We basically signed up with WorldPay and Switch as partners. They're our platform partners. We do not go out and build a payment gateway. That will be too expensive and take too long. But that means we can transact in any non-sanctioned market in the world, in any currency right now. Now, there's the core stuff that we can do. We have excellent platform partners. People can source excellent platform partners as well. We can move money. We have a dashboard people can log into and look at stuff. And we have account management capabilities. So much like you would log into your PayPal account and say, I want to attach this credit card and bank account, companies will be able to log in and register many accounts against many activities. So say, any loyalty is paid out of this account. Any premium collected goes into this account for motor, this account for life. So easy to manage. Now, yes, you can replicate that. But the point is to understanding why you are building it. If somebody looks at our product as we have it now and copies the capabilities, they are 5 months behind because they don't understand what is being built. Namely, the companies need a single point of integration. If you do not have that, you do not have a business case. You're not solving the core problem of the big organizations. Companies these days think globally. They don't have time to think about new partners when entering new markets. If they have one partner that can be there for all markets, all currencies, that just makes so much more sense. And the automation, especially with all the work going into AI machine learning. We need to be able to deploy that to fully leverage even new products and cost efficiencies in the organization. As I mentioned, we now have great partners, even Barzahlen from Germany. We have now an agreement with. That means we can even collect cash and pay out cash. You might ask, who the hell still works with cash? Turns out quite a lot of people in Switzerland, actually. Collection may be surprising that about 30% of some insurance customers want to pay cash, but the possibilities of paying out cash is proving very interesting for many people. We are basically finalizing our core capabilities as a platform. We already have many, but we have already had many discussions with customers over here. So we're talking to Baseland Kantonalbank, we're speaking to Links, we are speaking to Generali for both Switzerland and Germany. We have started chats with Amazon, so e-commerce space is quite big, and then Deloitte in the UK around smart home and smart motor. Now, as we were discussing with this, we realized there are certain capabilities that need to be built, which we are finishing up there. Where we are right now is that we are basically close to closing out our advisory board and our angel investors, so we're just finishing that to really round out the capability of the management team, because we do have some gaps. We have great people we want to bring on board. But as we are dealing with big financial institutions, telling them you are self-financed up until now, which is great for investors, is for big financial institutions a bit of a blocker, like, oh, you're only self-financed? Well, what if I need to scale and have a big project? So that actually holds them back a little bit to fully committing. So we're here today asking for a convertible note, and we'll get to some of those details now, which will we invest into our capabilities and development capabilities to grow our business into markets and then really push to scale. We also have a great pipeline that we're talking to. So these are people who are really interested and are seeing the application in their product. Even people like Lemonade and Trove, who I know personally from the startup environment. Even they have questions about how do we make moving money no longer our problem. Now, what is our business model? It's very simple. We actually first build and test, so we go to companies, we agree that there's something to be built, we agree a POC fee, which gets to be paid up front. This is important because you need some kind of commitment from the companies, because if a big company suddenly, people go on leave or lose interest, it's too difficult or too easy to lose connection to a startup. We then see that the test is a successful test. If it is, we basically negotiate a percentage fee per transaction. That is how we make money. Every time we move money from A to B, we take a percentage transaction. This does not include all the payment fees. It's to use this capability, we agree a fee up front. If you then paid for the pilot, we will convert that to a credit for you. So if you do a full commercial relationship with us, you don't have to pay for the pilot, you get that credit. If you do not go full commercial, you have paid only for the pilot. Then, as we move on, we will invest in developing the platform capabilities along your needs and grow into other products and other markets with you. Now, for us, it just means that we generally have meetings with people, discuss our ideas, share our thoughts, and then often people are very interested, but we push them to have a product workshop with product guys. We have had too many discussions with people who are interested that never leads anywhere, because you have to get the core buy-in from people in the business who execute day to day. So we basically force a product workshop with people, and if that says we are interested, we sign an LOI, we basically start negotiating the POC fee and move on from there. Now, what are we asking for? We're asking for a convertible note here of around 850,000 euros. We want to split those into two tranches. Why? Because we want to align our interests with our investors. We want to foster and promote a culture of delivery within our company. We don't want money sitting around and people think they can freely use it. This is all about discipline and how you execute. And instill this financial discipline, because it's critical at this point. Now, we need this money to be able to stand on a stronger foot with bigger company. This means creating an AG in Switzerland, because your reputation as an AG in Switzerland for payments is very strong. We are currently registered in UK. Now, let's have a very brief look at our projections on our business model. You can see over what time period we are planning to get clients in. You have a sort of a high-level insight into how we want to grow our company. That is to about 30 people. You can see here on the burn rate, how that burn rate increases over time. And you can see this is where we develop and sink money into the tech. And as you can see, the big spike here will probably need to be accompanied with a Series A investment to really support that one. And then basically our profit as we picked it. And then you have to understand that for a long time, we are not delusional that we think we're going to turn profit in the next 2 months. It takes a while, but don't get too worried about those spikes. That's tax that you unfortunately have to pay, and we all have to pay. Here's a very quick overview summary from our income statement. Seeing that this is an investor pitch, these are the kind of numbers that they want to see. And you see that basically if, as we are in our optimistic mind as a startup, we think we can start being net cash flow positive from the second half of the second year onwards, but we all know dealing with banks and insurance companies means things are slow and more expensive, as you always expect in the beginning. And that's really what I wanted to tell you about IMburse. We're anything payments, easily integrated, managed, and automated. Thank you for your time. Happy to answer questions.
You can see Oliver's been on both sides of the table here because he put in a lot of information a lot of inexperienced entrepreneurs might miss. So I hope you are all taking notes and snapping photos because we won't be sharing the presentation. Any questions for Oliver?
Yes, Bernard.
One question about moving from the UK to Switzerland and our game. Can you just walk us through why that?
Yes, so as we were dealing with certain companies, there's a lot of our partners, initial partners that want to sign up are European continental based. They have very big questions about Brexit. So actually the day the Brexit vote came through, I got 3 calls from angel investors who are basically signing up. And the question was not, are you going to move? They said, when and where are you going to move? So there's this pressure. That doesn't mean we're going to close down the company in the UK. But while this uncertainty exists, you have to address that uncertainty with clients. Those are the guys who are going to pay the bills. Yes?
Are you covering the trade sanctions for the payments?
Sorry, can you just repeat that?
Are you doing all the clearance for trade sanctions for your customers? Is that part of your offering?
Yes, it is. It is. We have to. And that is why we chose WorldPay, which is a listed company. It's a massive payment gateway who has to adhere to all the laws. And when we really started working on IMburse, we actually got to a point where we had to build a payment gateway. And when we looked at doing all that compliance, PCI compliance, everything regulated, we would have had to raise about $10 million and it would take us about 4 years to build. That's why we chose a capable partner and said, hey, can't we go with you? And they were excited because they never understood why insurance companies and banks didn't actually want to work with them because they missed those other points. So yes, we can do that right now. Yes?
So maybe piggybacking on that question, how do you deal with close currencies? You say you can pay in any currency, but if I'm selling into
The scanner isn't working.
don't actually let
Not working.
don't let outsiders buy and don't let insiders sell. How
As an example?
control currency, the Egyptian pound.
Yeah. So the way it works, so when we work with WorldPay, WorldPay can operate in all non-sanctioned countries in the world. So what they have is they actually have a local presence in all those markets. Now, when that trade actually takes place, it is equivalent to what you see with Revolut and TransferWise, is that in most cases, money does not actually cross the border to keep the cost down. Because they have massive trades happening in the US, UK, and Egypt, all over the place, they actually only balance out the difference with forward contracts or whatever at the end of the year, thereby passing on some of these savings onto the transaction costs, which is part of the deal that you saw with reducing the fees. So it is not that when I say I want my money, because one of the examples say, hey, you got 10 euros. The fact, and you're based in Germany, the fact that I'm in the US right now and I have a PayPal account and I want to spend it here, and I want it in US dollars, it shouldn't be an issue of the insurer. But it doesn't mean that 10 euros crosses border. It would be too expensive. It actually goes into a German account and you get the money out of a US account from WorldPay. And that's one of these facilities we can offer just because we picked the right partner, not because IMburse built that. Yes?
Two things. What licenses do you have that you need? And the other thing is, as an end customer, you said the example, if I get paid out something from the insurance, what's the user experience like? What do I have to do?
Licenses. So that is something we're discussing with the FCA and the FINMA here, because it comes down to basically milli-microseconds. The question is, do we as IMburse ever actually physically hold the money? And we're building the system that we do not, that WorldPay does it. Then we just become a platform of facilitation, right? If we get it wrong, we will have to get an e-money license. But we're trying to avoid regulation as much as physically possible. This extends into security. So whatever we build on our APIs, anything that will be rolled out, is trying to be secure by design, not by encryption. That means we will not try and hold payment information. People can hack away and get our personal information, but we will never lose our clients. There is a convenience factor, which goes nicely into your question about user experience. It's unfortunate if somebody loses their phone and starts their app again, they might have to put the payment detail in. But in today's world with cybersecurity, I'd rather have that problem than have somebody hack my customer details. In terms of the customer experience, you as an end consumer should ideally never see IMburse. You do not go create an account with IMburse. We provide a set of APIs to an insurer or any company to build into their own experience. They just have a way of calling out into this platform in a strategic way. And I'll be glad to show you the demo that we have, is that it shouldn't say IMburse anyway. It should only be this insurance company or bank. And however they choose their experience to be is what it should look like.
Do you expect the transaction fee to be very much like credit card transaction fees, i.e. borne by the shop or the bank who's receiving the payment rather than the customers?
So there's two developments there. I think at the moment, as it stands, as we will deploy in the next 6 to 12 months, is that there will be a fee based on which technology you use. So PayPal has quite high fees, for example, Stripe, but then credit cards lower, and in Europe, normal cards are even lower. Now, currently that will be a one-to-one pass on. We pass on that rate, and it depends on which company deploys this. So generally, insurers and banks absorb that fee for themselves. But you see more and more e-commerce players who basically put that charge back to their customer if they're doing this. What to keep in mind is two big developments in the market. That's GDPR and PSD2. So PSD2 has to do with access to payment systems and payment infrastructure in a big part. That means there's a big question about a lot of these payment mechanisms, whether they're still commercially viable, because now you can access a massive amount of payment infrastructure at a much lower cost to do exactly the same transaction. That is a field we still need to be on top on and understand that. But we basically rely on the person who rolls out to the point of the experience. We do not own the customer experience, and we really depend on them on how they roll out that visualization and that messaging.
One last quick question.
I just want to have one. How do you want to build a trust? Because PayPal, for example, has a lot. It's quite expensive, but it has a huge trust.
Yep.
So how do you want to compete with this?
Important to understand is we are no competitor to Apple Pay, PayPal, Stripe, bank accounts, bank cards at all. What we are saying is that currently customers are being made to choose by the ineffectiveness of IT or the limitation of IT and cost by the companies. But I, as a customer, have massive trust in PayPal, to your point exactly. So why can't I pay my insurance premium with PayPal if I want to pay that fee? Currently, you don't have the choice. That's exactly the point. So we do not pick. We are not the customer-facing brand. But we say, in the end, a company wants 100 euros. How the customer wants to pay the 100 euros should be up to the customer, not the choice of the insurer. And that's why I think why they're all the payment gateways are really interested in speaking to us, because we don't take their fees and we are not trying to limit them. We're actually trying to unlock a market that they do not have access to. So thank you for your time, and I'll be around at the Apero and looking forward to engage.
Thanks, Oliver. Cheers. Good job.